What's up, guys? So back on this thing again. I've been working on it a little bit. Some of the stuff I didn't actually get on video because this thing has been really pissing me off. So basically what I got going on right now, it's like, I talked about before, it kind of runs funny. But basically what it does is it starts up, runs fine, then all of a sudden it wants to idle low, and sometimes it'll die, sometimes it'll keep running, but it kind of idles up and down. I don't know. I tried swapping out throttle bodies. That didn't really pan out. It didn't seem to change anything. I thought maybe the TPS was screwed up on the other one because it was like an aftermarket Chinese deal. So I got a stock Integra one on here right now. Didn't do anything. I pulled the valve cover off, checked belt timing. That's all correct. I did a valve adjustment on it just because I was in there. I did figure out the check engine light. That was actually something really stupid. So the back of the cluster where the bulb goes in, I didn't notice it before, but it was actually corroded where the bulb goes in. I literally just took some sandpaper and cleaned it up and put it back in there, and now it works. However, there's no check engine light. I mean, it works, but there's no fault code for this problem. So why it's doing that, I have no idea. I've been playing around with the idle screw. I tried changing out the idle air control valve. That didn't do anything. Tried changing out the fuel filter. I just don't know. I'm kind of at a loss. The other thing I did do, I changed out the fuel pump. Also, I tried that since that other fuel pump was questionable. That didn't change anything either. Yeah, I'm really running out of ideas here, guys. I'm really not sure what's going on. Okay, so I've been messing around with idle air control valves, and I tried a couple different ones, messing around, started trying to take them apart, see if I could figure out what the hell's going on. What I ended up doing was I actually had that one on the intake, and it was plugged into what I believe is actually like the purge valve or something. And then the other one was plugged into this one, which is just hanging, and it actually almost ran correctly. And I think basically when I plug that thing in there, it opens it all the way. So it seems like, to me, it seems like it's not getting enough air. So I started looking at the intake manifold, and when I had this blocks intake on there, I noticed that this hole isn't like completely open, like it's just like partially open there, whereas a stock Integra intake is like fully open there to go into towards the throttle body. So I'm wondering if this one just isn't open enough to actually let air flow through. So I'm gonna try putting a stock P75 intake on there and see what the fuck. Okay, after a whole lot of screwing around off camera, basically what I ended up doing, so I got the P75 intake on there, new intake manifold gasket, and I had, originally I had a DA LS throttle body, didn't like that one, so I actually had a P75, a B18B throttle body, which actually has this extra dingus down here, and I think this extra, this extra idle valve seems to have made all the difference, because it seems like it's running better now. It actually wants to idle with that. So now I had to drain all the coolant out because I had to take, all those hoses off. So I guess I'm gonna put coolant back in it, bleed that, and then kind of see what it does at that point. Because at the moment, it seems better. Still idling a little funny, but I think it's because it needs the cooling system bled, hopefully. But at least it's not dying now, so that's a big plus. It's actually like staying running, and it seems better. It still seems like it might be hesitating. It's really hard to tell because that exhaust is god-awful. I did order some new exhaust, so once I get that on here, hopefully maybe I'll be able to figure it out. But it does seem like it's kind of almost hesitating, but maybe it's because it still has some shit gas in it. I got as much out as I could, and I put like 5 gallons of good fuel in it, so I don't know, but maybe the distributor is screwed up. I don't know. I've changed out so many things at this point. I don't know what else it could be, so maybe it'll just clear itself up. I don't know. We're gonna bleed this and move on. All right, so next thing, I ordered this exhaust. It's just an eBay deal, but it's not the cheapest one. It was like $300 as opposed to like $100 for the cheapest one. So maybe this one would be better because the muffler looked like it was a better design. I don't know. We'll find out. Hopefully it doesn't sound terrible, but the biggest thing is that I wanted something that I don't have to cut and weld a whole bunch. I should only have to cut maybe one flange, hopefully. Famous last words, I guess, but let's get this thing open, see how bad it is. Okay, I'll say first appearances, I'd say it does look better than the cheapest eBay stuff. Like I said, main reason was this muffler is it's actually an oval style design instead of one of those like cans. So I'm hoping that this will actually quiet it down a decent amount. I did notice that's kind of bent already, which is kind of not the best. I will say that these seams they kind of sketch me out. Like it's like they did like a real fine TIG weld or something on the outside, but it's like really thin. I don't know how long that'll last. I will say this made me happy though. This is actually a resonator. It's not just a fake resonator like all the cheap eBay ones. So hopefully it'll not sound like ass. Let's put it together, see how it fits. Okay, it's just sitting on there right now. It's not bolted up to anything, but I will say first opinions, not great. It's hitting the bumper so fucking hard. I'm absolutely gonna have to cut this out of here, which I guess isn't the worst thing in the world. I mean, it's not like the bumper doesn't already have holes in it, but yeah, hopefully it fits better than that all the way across. I'll put the other pipes in there just so I know 100% like where I need to cut, but I mean, it's pretty close to where it's gonna have to be cut. Yeah. Okay, it turned out reasonably good. I will say it still was trying to pull the exhaust like this way, and I think I'm almost positive it's this header, because if you look at it, it just, for some reason, it's pointed that direction. I don't know why, but I was able to reuse that cat delete pipe, and then I had to reuse that double triangle piece to make it work, but it fits pretty good. I'll show you the back. So you can see, I had to cut quite a bit. I got a little carried away. We'll have to touch-up paint that at another time, or respray it, or whatever. Not important. It does at least fit now. Doesn't seem to be hitting anything, so that's good. So now, all that's left to do is to see if it sounds like shit. Well, unfortunately, it still runs like shit. It wasn't idling like this last night. It was working fine. What is wrong with this car, guys? Okay, so I decided I was gonna bleed the brakes, and then, yeah, things escalated. So, what you would expect that it would have happened is that would have broke off. That is not the case. What happened is the fucking line, while I was bleeding the brakes on the front, just decided to start leaking from there for whatever reason. I never even broke the bleeder free back here. So, I mean, I guess it's better I caught it now than later. Good news is the parts store that's literally a 2-minute drive from my house had what I needed and has a line. So now we gotta replace the line and the fucking wheel cylinder. Okay, brakes are bled. I got the wheels back on, it's back on the ground. I'm gonna attempt to drive it, even though I know it's not running correctly. I just want to see what it does. Not gonna go very far, but yeah, we're gonna try it. Oh my god, guys, I gotta tell you, this thing, oh my god, holy shit. This thing rides like shit. Oh my god, this thing is rough. but it drives not well. Like, it's definitely, you can feel it cutting out, and the alignment is way fucked. But Jesus, this thing rides rough. Holy shit. Well, I did the first burnout in the car just trying to get into the driveway. God damn it. Okay, so went over to my buddy's house, grabbed a whole bunch more parts. I tried another distributor. I tried a coolant temp sensor. I tried a Honda, which is the big base map. Tried that, didn't work. Tried a fuel pressure regulator. None of those worked. So I started playing around with Honda. Started trying to delete things, like I shut the O2 sensor off, tried shutting various different, like idle control valve off. None of those things seemed to help. The only thing that did help, I found, was when I was looking at the short-term fuel trims, I noticed that it was trying to add 30%. So I was like, huh, there's something going on with the fuel system. So I added 30% to the fuel table. All of a sudden, it just like ran fine. So I think there's 100% there's something going on with the fuel system, because I shouldn't have to add fuel. Like, it should just work. So either the pump that I have in here is bad. I've tried two. The second one, the first one was definitely questionable because I've been sitting in the car for that long. The second one that I got from my friend, also questionable because it pulled out of a car, he wasn't sure, and when I looked at it, it kind of looked just as shitty as the other one. So that one could be bad also. The other thing I'm wondering is, since it has so much shit, it's been the fuel system, varnish, all that crap. I'm wondering if maybe there's more crap in that fuel filter. Obviously, you know, I'm on the second one, or I guess it'd be the third one? Yeah, third one. So maybe there's some shit in there. Also, maybe he gave me the wrong injectors. So what I'm going to try is, I'm going to get another fuel pump from him. He's got another good one that came out of a running and driving car, knows it's good. Going to try that one. See if maybe he has some other fuel injectors. Also, I'm going to go to the parts store, get another fuel filter, because that first one was obviously bad. So we're going to get that warrantied out. In the meantime, I've been messing around with suspension, because obviously it rides like shit with those drag coilovers on there, and it's not safe. So last night when I was picking up those other parts, my buddy also had some other suspension, just some old Takiko Blues with some TN lowering springs, or at least that's what the fronts are. The rears are also TN lowering springs, but I think they're stock struts. I think they look pretty old and rusty, but the car ran fine. So yeah, we're gonna try it. I did have to do a bunch of fucking around because he couldn't get the control arms to come off of there, because typical, you know, Honda stuff, the bushings get stuck. Well, these are aftermarket, and I had to cut all of these with my plasma cutter to get them off of there. What a pain in the dick, but I was able to save them, so we're gonna throw those in, and hopefully the car rides better, because anything's got to be improvement the way it was, because before it was terrible. So I'm gonna throw those on. Yeah, we'll see how it looks, see how it does. Okay, so I just got done driving it again. I got that suspension on there. It definitely sits up a lot higher, and I'm almost positive these fenders are bent in the front. Like, it just doesn't make any sense that it sits higher in the front, because it did that with the other coilovers too. So I think there's something going on with those fenders, but not that that's important. It actually rides really good on those struts. Even though they look all worn out, they rode really good. So I drove it with the Honda with the 30% fuel added, and it drives fine. It drives totally normal. Like, no problem. Feels like it has power. It's fine. So why it's doing that, I'm not sure yet. I still think fuel pump. Yeah, I think that's the next step. Try fuel pump, see what it does. But yeah, I mean, at least we're making progress. At least I got something figured out. At least I know that by adding fuel, it works. So yeah, we're getting somewhere, guys. Okay, I'm calling it good for the night. But I will tell you guys, I figured it out. I freaking figured it out. Finally, I had my buddy come over, and he brought his fuel pressure gauge, and we checked that. That was fine. And then we pulled the fuel injectors out of his car. He's got a B20 swapped EK. Pulled those out, put them in this car, ran fine. Then we figured out that when we pulled the injectors out of the EG, we figured out that they are what it looks like to be VX injectors, which are only 180cc. And it's supposed to have 240cc's, which 100% makes sense why I had to add 30% fuel in the tables, because that's about how much bigger the injectors are supposed to be. So I went back over to my buddy's house. He had some other EK injectors. I pulled those out with the clips, wired them in. It runs perfect now. So stupid. It's like 2 weeks of trying to figure out what was wrong with this car, only to figure out that he accidentally gave me the wrong injectors. So dumb. But at least I figured it out. At least, yeah, now we can finally move on to other things. Granted, I don't have very much time left, but I can move on. All right, so next day, I just drove it a little bit around the block just to make sure it was still good with these injectors. Everything seems fine as far as I can tell. So now I'm gonna start digging into some other things. I got the wiring all kind of tucked back in there for this this fuel pump, and then just kind of cleaned up this wiring. And then while I was at it, I pulled the seat out because at this point it's time to fix some of these holes that this car has. This one that I showed you guys before, this rust hole, I cleaned it up previously, but it's already kind of surfaced rust from sitting outside. So I'm gonna go over it again, clean it up. And I just made like a little cardboard template. I'm just gonna cut this out as like some sheet metal or something so I can put a patch in. So that's next on the agenda. All right, got that one cut out, got it tacked in. I'm gonna go around all the edges like with seam sealer on the inside and the outside, and then I'm gonna paint over it, make sure, damn sure it doesn't rust again, I think. And then on the outside, I'm probably gonna do some undercoating as well. Okay, I'm getting more progress. I had one of my buddies come over with that red Civic I was talking about with the B20 swap. Been having him do some things while I'm doing some other things. Got the intake just kind of on here, just an Integra airbox. Got the starter switched out because it was the wrong one. Yeah, he's working on putting the seats in because I can't remember on Integra seats. I think there's only 3 bolts that line up, but it seems like they're lining up pretty good. I started back here doing rust repair and covering all those holes. I went over here. I literally just like did this on a little bit of rust because I was like, oh, it's no big deal. It literally just punched a hole right through there. I'm like, oh my god. So made up another patch, put that on there. I'll walk you over here so you can see what I got going on. Been working on this. This was all open before, so I built this panel. Just tacked that little piece in there down there. I've got another piece that's going in up there, and I'm gonna run some seam sealer and paint and all that stuff, and then I can kind of start working on this side, which not only do I have that hole, but that hole right there that I was talking about, but I've also got, there's an opening there. You can see the ground, so I've got to close that in somehow. Yeah, lots of work. All right, guys, it's really starting to look nice. I put in another section there, seam sealed it, threw some paint on it. This side I threw some more paint on it. It's turned out pretty good. I just need to fix that hole back there in the corner, and over there's another section over there, and hopefully that'll be it for body repairs. Out here burning the midnight oil, getting things done. Got that other car stripped down, starting to put shit on here. You see we got some red mirrors on there, bumpers back on, bumper support, all that stuff. Just got the cowl out of there. Look at this shit. So many walnuts and shit. Oh my god. Oh man, we're getting there, guys. Red hood's on there. Decided to put the hood pins in because yeah, I can't get the pins out of the radiator support. They're like seized in there. So I was like, you know what, we're just gonna run it. And honestly, I'm glad I did because it looks freaking sweet. Honestly, the red hood with the red mirrors looks so good with that front end. Ah, I love it. It's so good. Hey guys, next day, driving it. Wish me luck. I'm on my way to the DMV. So hopefully this goes okay, since the dash fin doesn't match anything else. So I don't know how much shit they're gonna give me. Hopefully not a lot. But other than that, the car's driving fine, so I guess we'll find out. Well, surprise, surprise, guys, that didn't work. DMV over here is telling me that Nebraska can't fix issues like that, and I have to go to the original state to do it. So apparently I have to call the DMV in North Dakota and have them send me a new one or something. I don't know. I've never had to do this, and it sounds like a nightmare. All right, sit rep. So I was able to order a new VIN plate from a company that just like they remanufacture them for like older cars. They were able to make one. They shipped it out, so I should see it in a couple days, and then I can. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to take the dash back out, but
It is what it is. Take the dash back out, put the new VIN plate in, then I'll get it registered. In the meantime, I'm just kind of putting the car back together some more. I didn't really work on it that much because I was like, fuck, I don't know what the hell's gonna happen with this thing. But I started working on it. So I got this panel in there, and you know, I started working on the door panels a little bit and cleaning stuff up. So it's looking better. Like, it's not all super dirty. Right now I'm working on the god-awful rust situation in this back corner. It's so much worse than I thought it was. Like, I started tacking this in, and I can't even get it to tack in because it's just rust. Like, it's just blowing holes through because it's so thin. Like, this corner down here is like, you can see there's like seam sealer and just rust. It's awful. So I'm just gonna do the best I can, but it's bad news bears down there. All right, guys, I think that's gonna be it on this one. Stay tuned to see if I can get that VIN plate in and see if I can get it registered and hopefully get the car done. We'll see. But until next time, like, subscribe, do all things. Peace out.